Is he taking deep inspiration from this? It's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It's the best thing that I've ever read.
Wait, look at this Cat in the Hat. This is even better. Hey, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We're here talking about Severance. Season 1, Episode 4. The You Are. The great book. We open with Helly being emotionally tortured in the break room, apologizing over and over. We'll come back to that. We end with Helly hanging herself in the elevator. So begin with Helly, end with Helly. Paul, what did you think of Episode 4?
I liked it. Yes, there was a lot of drama, but also, that this nice thing that's typical of this show, which is the strange sort of interactions that are quasi-comical,
right?
Or surreal, perhaps is the better word.
Yes, there's an absurdist quality to it. Now, first of all, I was going to theorize that Helly is not dead. Because I don't see them killing off Petey and Helly in the same episode. But I don't have to guess in that the description of Episode 5 on Rotten Tomatoes says, Irving and Dylan confront Bert about his lies. Good. Mark and Helly discover a strange new department.
Oh, okay.
So it suggests that, in fact, no, she is not dead. But it makes sense that she would not be dead.
Or Mark has an Audi in heaven.
Right, great point. Or this is a flashback. She was there ages ago. Is it possible somehow that she's dead in this? Yes, I guess, but I think it's likely she's not. Yes. Which is also going to be just more hellish for Helly when she's going to commit suicide and then be back at work. Like,
Yes.
Woo. Anyway,
so it's like you don't have to play me whatever video my Audi made. I can guess.
Just to bring people up to speed, Helly.
People who've seen the episode.
That's right. Yeah, good point. She records her plea to her Audi and she's going to cut off her fingers, which is a good tactic, by the way. She thinks through this quite well.
Yep, she does.
And so the Audi Helly's response is as cruel as the break room. It's just it's basically, I'm a person you're not.
Yep.
If you do something to damage your physical body to punish me, I'm gonna punish the hell out of you. And it's like, whoa. And it's it's interesting because I hadn't thought about it. We've been seeing this mostly from the innie's perspective, and so from that perspective, it's like, why would you ever do this?
Yes.
But from the Audi's perspective, because the Audi's the one who agrees to the surgery, right? So now you're getting maybe the sales pitch. The sales pitch is you never have to work ever again.
Right.
Now, is it possible that the video is a deep fake? And yes, it's all possible. I feel like it's more narratively interesting if it's not a fake.
Oh, I agree.
If that's Helly. That's just the way Helly is like, look, this was sold to me. This is what I want.
Yeah.
You stay there, damn it.
Yeah, it definitely, obviously this season we're going to see Helly on the outside, which we've only seen her in little glimpses on the outside. So obviously there's going to be an episode where we really see what is the deal with Helly.
Yep.
Helly, Innie Helly was saying that I wouldn't do that to myself, basically. And clearly she's wrong.
She's wrong.
Yeah, so it just it's a question now of what type of person is she really? And I think that does increase the odds that she's got an ulterior motive to be there, not merely that she just wants this employment opportunity.
Yeah, it's interesting too that that response is very fast. Because Helly's wearing the same outfit. The people are standing in front of the elevator waiting for her to come back. So she goes up. Her Innie becomes her Audi. She watches the video, like asking to leave. And then immediately he's like, let me record this. No.
Yeah.
Send it back. Get back down. And then she walks it back down. So it's like, wow. It was just like, there's no time. It was just like.
Well, yeah, and it shouldn't make, it's not like, like, oh, do you think she can come to work to answer this question? No, she's right here.
She's right here. Exactly. We have to call her in.
It's like, are you willing to take a half day and go and make a video and then come? Well, we got a camera right here, It's the out heli is probably going to be docked for whatever time that she's taking. Like, that was your lunch.
That was exactly. Great point. So it's I asked the question last recap where I was like, okay, if your innie is exposed to this break room torture, which we now are confirmed, like she had to apologize 1,000. She had to come back the next day and continue apologizing.
Yeah.
I thought 1,000 times.
I didn't imagine. It's like, obviously we didn't only have a slight glimpse into that room, and so I think you would suggest it's sort of like I'd be like, yeah, sure, yeah. Well, you're going to be there for a long time doing that.
Exactly. So Helly gives us the answer, which is at least the first time you go to the break room, it is a big like I'm out of here moment, and she tries to leave. Her outie says no, and so she tries to commit suicide. So, that tracks with like what I imagine would be your first experience in the break room.
One thing they haven't figured out on the outside is how to artificially recreate the situation in the inside. So I would think like, geez, if we're going to send somebody in there, and that's what I'm assuming is going on, that you could create a situation where somebody, could, once you're on the outside, someone could create a little thing for you to enter, and then it's like, now you're inside, and now we're going to talk to you about, what's going on to you, the person that's inside, and that's how we can communicate with you. So if you can artificially create whatever Faraday cage or whatever that building is, where it's like, now you're into this new consciousness.
You're talking about somebody trying to take down the company, in other words.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, which, we don't know yet about what this group is. If they're associated at all with, Helly, we don't know. The group that Pete, became involved with. We really do. Obviously, we got an episode about that coming. Because,
that blocked phone number, I'm guessing it's the people that did the reintegration, the unsevering for Pete.
Yeah.
Trying to
I
reach
would
out.
think.
So eventually, Marco picked up that phone.
Just think of it about if it wasn't.
I know.
If there was some other group.
From Mark's perspective, it is very dangerous to pick up that phone.
Yes.
Right? And you can understand why he'd hide it, because if it's, let's say it's Lumen calling, like it would connect him to Petey's phone on the outside. It would be like, it'd be a bad thing. So you can understand why he's not eager to like, let me check out this number. I think eventually he will, but there's an interesting point. So let's say in the real world, if I'm brought to a break room type situation in the real world, the threat hanging over me, I think, would be, hey, if you don't do this, you're fired.
Right.
Well, that's exactly what Helly wants.
Yeah.
Right? So what motivates her to submit to the break room or even do her job, right? I mean, like, I'm kind of reminded of the Homer Simpson quote with like look, if you don't like your job, you don't strike. You just do it half-assed. That's the American way. But like, what is is the threat that they'll kill you, I guess? Or like, it sounds like if it's a job that you can't ever leave no matter what, well, that works both ways, right? So now they can't fire you for ignoring orders. You just try to make your any life as enjoyable as possible, I would think. I don't know. That's a strategy anyway. I'm just like, what is the threat? Hey, do this 1,000 times. Why? Your work will suffer. Okay, fine. Oh, I'm not doing the zeros. What? Where do I go now? You're like, it's interesting. What is the threat? It's
One thing. Who knows? I mean, I think it was it Milchick who was doing that, or was it the
it was Milchick.
Guy?
Yeah, it was Milchick was running the test.
Yeah, so the one person they've mentioned is the person that he had to deal with, that Mark had to deal with when she was trying to escape. So Grainer,
right,
is
he's
the
like
one.
security. Yeah,
Yeah,
he seems
so
like physically
he might be
threatening.
so he might be the the enforcer that's beyond Milchick.
I got you. Maybe there's some like torture, physical torture. Maybe,
Torture,
or something.
yes, enhanced interrogation.
Enhanced interrogation. I get it that I'm overthinking the plot device in a way, but I'm like, for instance, I was thinking there's a big part of this episode is, hey, the you are the book that got brought, that Harmony sneaked in to show Milchick, and then there was the alarm, and so Milchick left it in the office, and now Mark is reading this book by his brother-in-law.
Right.
It made me think like, okay, the innies, their memories have been erased in some way, but they know English. They know how to read it.
Yes,
They know how to speak it. They know math. They can see numbers and interpret them.
Yes.
Do they remember Shakespeare, for instance? Do they know, like, in other words, would they have a memory of learning about Dickens? Or, you know what I mean? So, like, would they recognize to be or not to be? Or is this crappy self-help book like the pinnacle of great literature because they don't have any frame of reference except like the manual at Lumen? I don't know the answer to that. How the memory thing works. Just because they were looking at this book, and also the way that Irving was like brought to tears over these little paintings about Keir Egan, and I was thinking to myself, is it that they just don't remember a frame of reference? Like, what is art? Art is these paintings we see in this building. It's not anything else. Books are this manual that we're supposed to read and nothing else. Or this crappy
I feel
self-help
like
book.
it's safe to say that they don't have that because they don't have memories of their childhood or
right.
So yeah, they don't have any. I don't think they have any concept of that. So yeah, they can read, and yeah, I think that's what they're. They know states. They just don't know which state they were born in. So they have.
Right.
There's probably be interesting
part of the
if they were to
brain,
diagram to see exactly what knowledge they haven't, and it's the writers in the Bible for the show may have decided what sort of information is there, because certainly they make pop culture references.
That's what I was thinking. I was trying to go back and remember if they did that or not. So they do. Okay.
I feel like they do, especially like I feel like Dylan especially is making pop culture references, Oh, and so I feel like, because they tease each other a lot. I feel like,
Right. I was trying to think back. I couldn't think of an example, but it felt to me like perhaps we had heard some reference to something.
I think they have, yeah.
Okay. All right. If you out there in comment land can remember a moment when some pop culture reference got named by one of our innies, let us know.
Yeah, God, I'm hoping I'm not wrong about this.
I get partial credit, not really, but I get partial credit for. I predicted that "Enter Sandman" would be a song used in Peacemaker.
Oh.
Instead, it got used here for the funeral scene. So I was one show off. Petey and his daughter. There's this little touching moment where they're playing "Enter Sandman," and they use that at his funeral. I would say Harmony was very fortunate that song got played. Her plan to extract Petey's chip involves a very loud drill, which she plays while they're playing the guitar.
Yes.
I was just like, did she really? Like, I can imagine her walking up to the funeral with the drill going, there's no way this is going to work. How is this possibly? Anyway, but it worked. She got the thing.
Yes, she did.
So she's got that because she's trying to prove, I think, to the higher-ups that reintegration is possible, right? Or that that's why she's got it, or to find out how.
Well, I mean, perhaps the company or the higher-ups are thinking, no, there wasn't any reintegration going on, and she's like, yeah, there was.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like, he was more of a threat than we initially imagined, and also they might not be aware of this group that did the work.
Right. But in other words, so she had to kind of do it on her own,
right?
As opposed to like, hey, Lumen employee X, go do this thing. She was kind of a little bit like, let me go do this, to kind of cover my ass when the time comes.
Perhaps, yeah. It's interesting to think about that. I mean, yes, it may have been that she's being blamed for what occurred, and so
Right. That's
her
what I
getting
get.
that chip back might have been that. But I wonder if it's also, because she wants to have it examined, to, like, okay, yes, but I'm also doing my job, and that I'm protecting us from this group.
Petey's daughter talks to Mark and is like, "Oh, you're one of his any friends." I forgot how she puts it, but basically, God, you guys go through such lengths just to avoid,
Yes.
thinking about sad things or whatever. She kind of nails.
Yes, right,
on the head
exactly.
for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's his impetus for going to the crash site,
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
which then prompts Harmony. Or I don't know if she knows that he went to the crash site or not, but she summons this wellness check for him, where she places the candle from his, place, which I think was his wife's. I don't know. It's like in his wife's possessions. That's there in the wellness room. So I feel like the wellness check is this. Is the severance process still holding check? Because I think it's like designed to let's evoke some memories and see if his outie and his innie are somehow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Connected.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he did make the tree.
Yep,
which,
he made the tree.
So it's interesting. They only gave us a little drab more about what's happening in that place, in that room with those computers and everybody walking around in there.
The O&D department,
yeah. Yeah, it's like, geez, what is going on?
Right. So the O&D fight. So Bert touches Irving's hand at one point, and Irving doesn't know how to deal with it, but eventually is fine with it. And Bert has him, invites him to O&D. And so when Irving's walking around O&D, he walks through this door and he sees that, in fact, there's a whole lot more than just 2 employees in O&D.
Yes.
And yeah, it's kind of a shock just in terms of the show. It's been so barren, like these hallways are always empty, and then suddenly there's a room full of people, and you're like, oh crap. This is a slow burn mystery that they're putting out, I think, in good chunks at the moment.
Yeah, and why does Bert, if he's working with paintings and other artworks, need to work with a computer? I mean, with that many computers, I mean, that looks like real data, trying to figure out information there. And if it's just some database that has a bunch of images of pictures and stuff, I wouldn't think you'd need that kind of department.
Yeah, it seems like part of his job is propaganda, I guess, for like the Egans. Here, let's put up paintings about Egan's life. But then maybe that's just like a little subset of optics and design is also whatever this is. I don't know, but or he's just the front for it. I don't know. Like he's the face that interacts with the other departments, but behind the scenes, you're not really supposed to see that. I don't know. Maybe. Also, we have Dylan looks for and finds the UUR book that Mark said he was going to throw away because it was basically contraband.
Right.
And Dylan is, reading through it. All of our characters are Helly's driven to suicide. Mark is sculpting the tree that was the crash site for his wife, but on the inside here, he's in the company. We have this relationship between Irving and Bert, perhaps, who knows? And Irving opens his door to see this larger project, and Dylan is reading a book, reading contraband. So they're all, kind of bits of the company are of the facade of the company are falling away for all of these folks. It looks like.
And Dylan is I don't know how he's interested in that book, but he certainly also found the book as well.
Yeah, well, he was reading that whole thing about destiny or whatever, where he's like,
yeah,
it was kind of a lame poem, but whatever, that thing.
Is that what made you curious about if they remember Shakespeare?
Yes. It's like in other words, is he taking deep inspiration from this? It's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It's the best thing that I've ever read.
Wait, look at this cat in the hat. This is even better. But it was kind of funny at Petey's funeral. You were mentioning like silly absurd things. And there was this absurdity that I felt came with the fact that, hey, if you have these innies and you have these Lumen employees, the fact that Mark shows up and it's like, why are you here? Well, I saw that he worked at Lumen, so I figured I knew him.
Yeah.
You're like, that's why I'm here. A guy I don't know, but maybe I probably did, so I'm here. It's just a funny. Obviously, we know Mark's actual reason for being there, but
yes,
people accept it. Oh, right.
I think it's a reasonable thing to expect that people might do that. Like, okay, I don't know if I do, but I think I should show up because maybe I know him.
Right. I have no actual shared memories of this guy, but I'm here. Just anyway. So that was just an interesting. Yeah. As you say, it kind of makes sense in that way, in that weird logic. But if you had this absurd situation,
like everybody should be figuring, like it might make them think, why am I working in a place where I don't know any relations that I have? I mean, they've brought it up many times where the woman that was going out with Mark was sort of like, you could have a work girlfriend and I wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
Right. Yeah. And we learned that Petey was in a band as well. I mean, obviously he was playing guitar with his daughter, but also the little program had something about his band or something. So I don't know if that matters at all, but he was really into music, apparently. So I still think we're headed in the direction of Mark eventually deciding to undergo that same process that Petey did, and then continuing to work at the company, perhaps to take them down or something. But I think that's because right now he still toes the company line when necessary. Like when people are like Helly's obviously pushing against him, and he's like, our work is mysterious but important. He's trying to say all the right things still. Although, as she points out to him, you're a hypocrite. You're sneaking stuff on the side all the time. So I feel like he's going to continue to go down that road until a point where, he makes the big jump. And whether that's this, I feel like that's this season. That's probably season 1. And we'll just see. We'll see how that comes out. That's my theory anyway. The other way you could approach it would be he's not doing the process, but he's figured out a way to communicate with his outie. And so he figures out a way to beat the system so that his innie and outie can actually communicate. And I don't know if that could be the other way. I feel one way or another, his innie and outie are going to know about each other.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I kind of like realized, I feel like if I watch this show again, I'll be like, well, you know what? Actually, there were no pop culture references inside. If I had to think about it, yeah. So, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to assume that I'm wrong.
No, I'm not assuming it. I wondered myself, and I was too lazy to go and watch it.
No, I'm telling them. Audience members assume that I'm wrong.
All right,
whatever I say, that's what the joy of watching me is to see the ways that I'm wrong. It's like, why do I watch this? This dumbass. Oh, wait.
In fact, maybe if somebody gives a pop culture reference, it might be an indication that they're not severed, anyway. But yeah, anyway, if you guys out there, now that we've gone through 4 episodes, now that you have theories perhaps on where this show is going, feel free to put them in the comments.
Yes.
Love to hear the theories on this very interesting, mysterious show. So,
yes.
We'll be back talking about episode 5. Thank you, Paul. As always, good sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I will talk to everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.